Okay, this is our last part of the atmosphere series. This is part 4, specifically talking about global warming. The first thing we'll start talking about is that greenhouse hypothesis. And where we left off at the last part was how the infrared radiation couldn't go back out into space. It was stuck in our atmosphere, and that we had gases like water vapor and carbon dioxide and methane that would then absorb that infrared radiation, and the infrared radiation would cause those gases to heat up, which created like a blanket around our Earth to keep us warm, which is good because we wouldn't be able to survive in super cold temperatures like there would be in space. But there's also a little bit of an issue with how this works. In theory, it's very good, but in reality, there's some issues. And that's how global warming is causing some problems with us and what we'll discuss and explore. Now, the greenhouse hypothesis is on page 137 of your red science book. So you're going to have to skip quite a few pages to find where we're at with this new section. Page 137. Please turn your red weather book to page 137 right now. Okay, you should have your books turned to page 137. And look where it says the greenhouse hypothesis on that page. Now, many scientists have hypothesized that human activities, have hypothesized that human activities can add greenhouse gases to the atmosphere that may be warming Earth's atmosphere. So many scientists have hypothesized that human activities can add greenhouse gases to the atmosphere that may be warming Earth's atmosphere. Now the greenhouse gases make that look like an N, such as carbon dioxide, water vapor, and methane trap energy, which is what we talked about before. And the more gases that are created by humans will cause more energy to be trapped. So the more carbon dioxide we create, then the more energy can be trapped. And this will cause a gradual increase in temperature. And this gradual increase in the temperature of Earth's atmosphere is what is called global warming. So this is what is called global warming. Let's move on and talk about the changing levels of carbon dioxide. So you're probably going to have to flip the page and take a look at that next section. So scientists think that an increase in carbon dioxide is a major factor in global warming. The levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere remained the same until the late 1800s. Now, most scientists believe that this change is a result of increased human activities, such as the burning of wood, coal, oil, and natural gas. probably also has a lot to do with the increase in population of the planet as time has gone on. So not only are we increasing human activities just because we might be burning more wood, coal, oil, and natural gas, but there's more humans that are doing these activities, which can create more of the carbon dioxide floating around in the atmosphere than we had before the late 1800s. Now, these human activities, like I said, it's adding more carbon dioxide into the air. The more carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane, those greenhouse gases we discussed that are in the air, then the better the chance that the infrared radiation is being absorbed by those greenhouse gases, and it's creating more and more warmth. So let's take a look at the next section, which is called Climate Variation Hypothesis. So, not all scientists agree about the causes of global warming. This is very, very controversial still in science. So, and it might be controversial in your own household. Maybe some of you believe that global warming is real and this is what's happening, and maybe your family they're not believers. And that's fine. But I want to present to you both sides of the coin, and then you can make your own educated decision. So the other hypothesis is a climate variation hypothesis, because not all scientists agree about the causes of global warming. Now, some scientists think that the 0.7 degrees Celsius rise in global temperatures over the past 120 years may be due to natural variations in climate. So some scientists think that this is just natural, that there are always going to be variations and ups and downs in the climate. And satellite measurements have shown that the amount of energy the sun produces increases and decreases from year to year. So the small changes in solar energy, could be causing the periods of warmer and cooler climates. So the small changes in solar energy could be causing the periods of warmer and cooler climates. Now here's some possible effects of global warming. Well, there's some positive effects of this, that farmers in some areas that are now cool, like before they're really, really cold, but now they're cool because it's getting warmer, they can plant 2 crops a year instead of 1. And places that are too cold for farming today could become farmland later as that temperature increases. So think about our biome project and how some biomes were better suited for farming than for others. Well, let's say the Arctic tundra. It had permafrost. Well, if the temperature increases and the permafrost isn't frozen any longer, then that could start becoming farmland. Well, and here are some negative effects to that. Okay, so those are the positives, and now here are some of the negatives. The higher temperatures could cause water to evaporate from exposed soils, like plowed fields. So higher temperatures could cause water to evaporate from exposed soils, which could cause that soil to blow away easily. Okay. There's also an increased strength of hurricanes. So there's an increased strength of hurricanes that could be caused by an increase in the temperature of the oceans. Also, the sea level would rise as the water warms. Melting glaciers and polar sea caps, polar ice caps, we'll say polar ice caps, could also increase sea level. Okay, so melting glaciers and polar ice caps could also increase sea level. So this concludes our last lecture on the atmosphere and global warming. In the future in class, we're going to be taking a look at the effects of ice melting in the Arctic, and we'll read an article as well to help you have more of an educated stance on global warming, because again, this is a very controversial issue in science, and I want you to be able to make your own educated decision. If you have extra time in class, then you can play Adventures of Eco-Man for the remaining period. And after that, you could also refresh your memory about the layers of the atmosphere by listening to the Atmosphere Rap. Thank you for listening.